Welcome back to another live. So today we are talking about brain fog and fatigue. So these are both really common symptoms that you might have in early sobriety, and they usually last longer than just the withdrawal part of the experience. So I see a lot of people who either post or comment or reach out to me and they say like it's been over a month and I'm still really exhausted and I still have brain fog, like should I be concerned, what's going on? Or people get frustrated because they're doing the sober thing and it's hard and they feel exhausted all the time, and it can be really demotivating. So if you're struggling with this, I just want you to know it's super normal. I'm going to explain quickly why brain fog and fatigue happen in early sobriety. But if you want like the full story and you want all the science and what's going on, I explained it recently in episode 157 of my podcast. So that's a 15-minute explanation of it. But when we drink alcohol, it causes inflammation across the entire body. So if you've been sober for a bit, you may notice how you're less puffy overall, like your face, your body. Maybe you were able to go down a size in clothes. That was my experience. Weight was not a factor there. Even at the same weight, I was actually able to go down a size in clothes because all the puffiness went away. So alcohol causes a ton of inflammation across the whole body, including inside your brain. So alcohol makes the brain really inflamed. And this shows up as brain fog. So you might struggle to think things through, struggle to remember things, to keep information in your mind. You might just feel like foggy and kind of weird. And that's because your brain was inflamed from all the drinking. And when we stop drinking, things don't just get perfect right away. It takes time for the brain and the body to heal. And that timeline depends on, your gender. Alcohol affects women differently than men. How many years you drank, how heavily you drank, how often, your genetics, a bunch of different factors, so I can't give you a number. But I do go more into that in my podcast if you want to listen to that. But if you are struggling with brain fog, just try to imagine it as like your brain is inflamed and it needs to heal and it will go away. And there are other conditions that cause brain fog too, like ADHD and depression. So if you have either of those two things, you might have additional brain fog, or it might take longer for your brain fog to go away. So keep that in mind, please. And it's a very normal experience again. And if you drink to cope with the brain fog, then you're basically like resetting your timeline, and then you're going to have to start all over again. That's not going to cure the brain fog. That's just going to send you right back to the start of the journey. And with fatigue, when we drink alcohol, it's broken down first into something that's called acetaldehyde, and that's very toxic. And when that builds up in the body, because we're drinking more than the liver can process, that's what causes you to feel sick. That is what can cause cancer and other consequences from your drinking. And then that is eventually broken down into something called acetate, which is non-toxic. And acetate can make its way up to the brain, and it can actually be used as fuel. So if you come home from a long day at work and you're exhausted and you have a drink and now you're energized, you are actually being energized because alcohol provides the brain with acetate, which can be used as fuel. And acetate will hang out in the brain for a really long time, like 24 to 48 hours after you've had your last drink. Acetate levels are still really elevated. So if you're a daily drinker like I was, then it's basically always in your brain. And the brain learns to run on acetate for fuel. So when you quit drinking, you've deprived your brain of an energy source. And that's why you feel fatigued and exhausted. And your brain has to relearn how to utilize glucose and not acetate. So if you're feeling exhausted, just know that's also really normal. It might take a bit for that to go away as your brain heals. And that's not the only reason you're exhausted too. Like, your body went through a lot. We put our bodies through a lot of stuff when we're drinking all the time, and we're blasting it with alcohol, and the liver can't keep up, and we're like barely sleeping. And if you've listened to my podcast, then you know how alcohol affects your sleep. We think we're sleeping, but we're really not getting that much rest. So your brain and your body are just like totally exhausted from being beat up for years with your drinking. So of course you're tired in the beginning. So if you're struggling with these two things, I just want you to know they're super normal. They do take time to go away. As I said, like, everybody's different. There are so many factors that go into it. So I can't say like, in 60 days this is going to go away, because that's not the case for everybody. If it's something that you're really concerned with, of course I recommend just talk to your doctor, see if something else is going on, get blood work done, see how your like nutritional status is. Maybe you need some vitamin D or something. But it's normal, and drinking doesn't fix the problem. Drinking resets you. So if you want to learn more about this, I covered it in more depth in episode 157 of my podcast, and all of this information is on my podcast, really in depth. But if you guys have any questions, I will stay on as long as there are questions and answer them. So just put them in the question box. If you put them in the comments, I'll try to get to them. Also, if you don't watch my stories, I got my new brows. I have tattooed brows. So that's why they're so dark. So they're not going to be like this forever, hopefully. So this is day 3. So they're very, very dark and very bold, which is why I have the glasses to kind of disguise the boldness of the brows. So let me know if you guys have any questions that I can answer for you, things to help get you started or stay on the path. I think even though sobriety can feel isolating and sad and depressing at times, it's really, really worth it once you push through that hard part. Did you have any medical help to get sober? No, I didn't need that, thankfully. But if you do, or you're worried that you do, I have talked to some people that went through medical detox, and they only had positive things to say about it. And I know it's really scary to go seek out medical treatment for your drinking, but the people I spoke to said that everyone was so nice to them and caring, and that it's the reason that they finally got sober is because they got help. So I encourage you, if you're worried or if you're having physical symptoms like the shakes, to just go talk to a doctor. How long to get past the brain fog stage on average? I can't really give you the specifics because everybody's different. In an episode at the end of this month, I'm talking about how we recover cognitively when we stop drinking. So there's a lot of benefits that you can see around like 2 months. So around the 60-day-ish mark, a lot of people will feel a boost in mental clarity, so you could look out for that. But if you don't have that boost at around 2 months, then yours just might be slightly delayed. But it is slower than the physical benefits. So if you listen to this episode in a couple weeks, the cognitive benefits are slower than the physical benefits. So the brain takes a bit longer to heal and come back online, and for all that inflammation to go away, the body heals much faster. Do you recommend cutting all sugar? I find I eat like crap, after drinking, I crave alcohol and dessert. If you're still drinking, then no. I recommend not drinking. That's my first recommendation. Quit drinking and leave the sugar alone. You're going to crave more sugar in sobriety, and that's because sugar gives us a dopamine hit, and it provides instant gratification. It makes things fun. It gives us pleasure with no effort. So you're going to crave more sugar in sobriety, and I explain all about this in my podcast too, in episode 41. But doing both alcohol and sugar at the same time is really, really hard. Like, it's hard enough to quit drinking. You don't need to add not having sugar on top of that. I would say, like, for the first year of your sobriety, don't try to quit sugar. I'm quitting sugar now. I'm 3.5 years sober, and I never tried to quit sugar before, even though I was eating a lot of it. So really do not lump them together. I know it's tempting when you stop drinking and you start feeling a little bit better. Maybe you get a pink cloud and you're like, I'm going to be the healthiest person. I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. and go to the gym and drink green smoothies and only eat salads and cook all my meals and never eat sugar ever again. But adding too much stuff is going to make you overwhelmed and quit because it's too much. So just do one thing. Just don't drink. And then when you're comfortable with that, like truly comfortable, and it's your new normal, then you can do something else, or quit sugar, get a workout routine going, things like that. How are you quitting sugar? I am just not eating it. That's it. I'm not doing a program or like accountability or anything like that besides telling you guys. I'm just not eating it. I was eating Ben and Jerry's like every day. If you guys, they have these new things called Topped, Ben and Jerry's Topped. Don't even try it. If you haven't tried it yet, don't go anywhere near it. It is so delicious, and I ate them every day for a long time, and it got to the point where it's like, what the frick, man? My teeth are all gonna fall out of my head from all the sugar. This is starting to affect my mood. I started feeling regret afterwards. I wasn't feeling that before. But I would have this stupid Ben and Jerry's Topped delicious thing, and then afterwards I would feel regret. Christy, it's the perfect time for you to to get on this live as we talk about sugar and ice cream, so I'm glad that you're here. But I just decided, like, enough is enough. I talked to my therapist about it, and I don't want to eat sugar to satisfy cravings anymore. That's not a good way to be. I don't want to like be controlled by sugar. So I decided to do 30 days, and conveniently 30 days from when I made the decision was when I am leaving to go on a cruise to Hawaii. So I'm doing my 30-day challenge, and then I'm gonna be one of those like special occasion sugar eaters. Give me a heart if you guys have ever tried or like had the dream of trying to be one of those special occasion drinkers, where you just drink on special occasions. That was me before I realized that wasn't possible. But I'm gonna try to be one of those special occasion sugar eaters, and eat the sugar on the cruise and then come home and go back to not having it. And a lot of people think, like, so many people are asking me, like, are you not eating fruit? And I'm surprised at at how many questions I'm getting about that. Like, fruit is fine. Fruit is good for you. So I'm not cutting out fruit. I'm just cutting out like Ben and Jerry's and cookies and junk. So it's just a no sugar junk challenge. And yeah, there's a comment here. Suddenly everything is a special occasion. Yep, that's what happened when I was trying to be one of those special occasion drinkers. Everything was a special occasion. My husband and I were celebrating things all the time. And before you know it, you rationalize why you can go back to drinking every single weekend, and then it's every single day, and then you're right back to where you started. So I'm going to become a special occasion sugar eater, but not in my normal life, or I'm just never going to be able to have it again. So I'm going to do a podcast episode about it. I'm like halfway through the 30-day challenge, so when that's over, I'll do an episode about it and let you know how I'm doing. But let me know if you guys have any other questions you want me to answer. Do you have any information on becoming a recovery coach? I can make a recommendation for a certification program. It's a little expensive, but it's kind of the standard one that most people do. If you send me a DM, I'll send you the link. So I enrolled in it. I did all the coursework, and then there's like 6 months of weekly live training that I haven't started yet. So it's pretty involved, but I think it's really good that you want to get education and not be one of those people that just like gives advice on your personal experience. If you want to do this like professionally for your job, like in person or something, you can also look into your state. So your state probably has a way of getting certified, and they have some trainings that you can do. A local community college might have some trainings or an associate's degree that you can do. Also, I'm really excited too because I just got a new sponsor for my podcast and for most of the shows in my podcast network. And they're a university, and they have an online degree to become, it's called Addiction and Mental Health Treatment, like a bachelor's of arts in that. So that's another option too. But send me a DM, and I can send you like all the links and make some recommendations. But I think it's great that you want to get educated and you want to get certified. And I can also tell you which ones to avoid because they're way too expensive. Any other questions that I can answer for you? And thank you, Christy. If anyone here is interested in checking out a sober community, please join us. It's really supportive and nice, and you can get more info on my website if you click the join button, or just ask me questions, but we would love to support you. We're meeting actually in an hour and a half if you want to join us. If you want more fun vibes like this, more glasses, you can join the meeting. The tiny mic doesn't make it to the meeting though. Nutrition to help with brain fog and tiredness, or supplements. I don't really do too many supplements. I think it's better to just clean up your diet and exercise regularly. I think that you should try to do that first. So if you're still, like if you have cleaned up your diet, you don't eat very many processed foods or junk, you exercise regularly, and you still are struggling, then I would talk to your doctor and get some blood work done and see. But I don't really recommend that people take a bunch of supplements. I think you should just have a healthy diet and go for a walk every day. And that can do a lot for your mental health and mental clarity and your energy levels. If you struggle with depression, that's going to knock out your energy levels. That's something I struggle with. So therapy, walking, clean up your diet, connecting with other people, I think that should be your first thing that you try, and then supplements later. Are headaches also normal? Yep. Headaches are really hard to explain though, because there's a lot of different causes of headaches. So I've never found like this is why you get headaches in early sobriety, but also very normal. Just think about it, like your brain, you just blasted the crap out of your brain with so much alcohol. And now it's trying to figure out how to exist without all that alcohol. So you're going to be tired and headachy and foggy and cranky. Your emotions are all over the place. That's That's this Friday's episode. If you're a podcast listener, this Friday I'm talking about how your emotions are affected in early sobriety, because you might get more emotional, you might get really angry, things are going to feel bigger. So that's what this Friday's episode is all about. So this will be the last call for questions, and then I will go until the next one. I'm on day 3. I had the best 3 nights sleep ever. I'm really happy to hear that. That's awesome. But by God, I've never been so tired. Yeah. Totally normal. Also, withdrawal peaks 48 to 72 hours after your last drink. So you're at the max, and then it's going to start easing up. So tomorrow you should feel a little bit better, and the next day a little bit better. The tiredness can last longer, but you're doing awesome with 3 days. What has been the best part of being sober for you? I don't hate myself anymore. I think that's number one. I hated myself so much when I was drinking. Like, I couldn't stand myself. I felt like I was locked in a prison, which was me, of someone I just hated, and I didn't want to be this person, and I couldn't get away from them, and I just felt like a prisoner. And when I quit drinking, I saw that I don't have to be that way anymore. I don't have to let myself down every day. I don't have to let other people down. I don't have to embarrass myself or have regrets and all the stuff I hated. And every day could just be stable and calm. So I think building up self-esteem and confidence is what helped me the most. And then there's a lot of side effects of that. Like, my whole life has improved in every single way from not drinking alcohol. So I highly recommend it. But yeah, it's the best thing that I ever did. I'm glad that I quit when I did. I quit when I was 29, so I'm happy that I did that. And now I'm quitting sugar, and hopefully I'm also happy that I do that eventually. But I really recommend it. I think that the self-loathing that you feel, that you think is you don't have to carry that around forever. So any other questions before I let you guys go? Super last call for questions, and I'll be back, I forget the time, but another live, I think on Thursday, and you can get all the info on my page too, and RSVP so you don't miss it. But thank you guys so much for joining. Thank you for asking questions. Thanks for being a little bit silly with me today. And if you're interested in community, I have an awesome, really supportive community that I would love to support you, get you connected with the group, get you in a meeting, and I'll talk to you in the next one. And yes, this is being recorded, and it will be on my page in a second. So thank you guys, and I hope you have a great day.